Firstly, good to see you again, Dan. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. It's good to see you as well. It's been a while.
It's been a couple of months, yes.
Yeah, I think last time I spoke to you on the phone, we were going to try and organise to catch up before any of this went down. It was like a week or two.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, we were like, we'll catch up. I was like, I think I was in the area, and I gave you a ring. I was like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm busy. And I was like, no worries. And then we'll catch up on the weekend. And then I think it was like that Monday, Easter Monday, I think it was.
Yes.
Someone died in WA, and
then that was it.
The panic. That was it. The whole shopping panic buying exploded, which I kind of saw coming. 3 days prior on Good Friday, I went to the shops and I bought 2 weeks worth of like cans of soup and a pack of toilet paper and like a carton of water. And I was like, this is gonna happen. Like people are gonna freak.
So. I've got a message that I've sent to family and friends of a group that we started back on January 31st. And it was me telling the guys, hey guys, get your supplies. So by the first week of February, we had, 2 months worth of toilet paper. By the second week, we had started getting food and bottled water. By the third week, we got our fuel flasks and masks. We were finding it hard to find those supplies before everything. So then when March hit, we saw what happened and we were like, whoa, okay. Like we were in our mind, we're like, okay, we'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly.
And then, you saw the news and I didn't believe that there were people actually doing that until I drove down to get some energy drinks and then...
Honestly, me as well. I thought, no, this is the media ginning up another panic, just buying, like, the usual crap they do, right? Like, usual trying to make a story out of nothing. Dude, I went down there one day, and it was a shock, honestly, like, just to see shelves emptied, like you see in, like, the story, or, like, the photos out of, like, what happened in the Soviet Union, and shit like that, or, like, Venezuela, or, like, places like that where you see, like, empty shops.
Well, that was the first week, but by the second week, I'd go to shopping centres at late night or the 24-hour shopping centres and everything was stocked. And yet they were still reporting on shelves being empty and queues out the door. But that highlights what you said about the media. They've been not very helpful in this situation.
It's easy to dump on them, but like honestly, they never really are. From what I can tell, like for anything that really matters, they never seem to report on it at all, and anything that's just convenient for them to basically cause outrage, it seems to be all they, which makes sense. We live in a sort of outrage culture, so they're going to just go for that because that's what gets clicks, that's what keeps them alive.
Thinking about that, what did you see on your timelines and social media of your friends when this all kicked off?
Many hot takes from all different people, from all over the world, with all the friends that I've got in the US and the UK. And other places around. Everyone had their own little spin to give, and half of them were sort of cogent thoughts that someone had clearly just brought out of their own head, and the other half were just brainless sort of talking points. And I just said nothing, essentially. I shared a couple memes because it was funny.
I saw, yes.
I kept my mouth shut, and I haven't sort of posted any righteous indignation because I don't know what's going on.
I noticed a trend, and I didn't notice it until the second or third week, and essentially it would happen at a certain time of the day. People would post at around 8 a.m. and then 6 p.m. And because I don't watch TV, I didn't make the connection. But they'd watched the news, had gotten outraged over what they'd seen, and then straight away they'd post online. Every day. And I'm like you, I did not post one thing to do with Corona on my timeline for that simple. I'm not giving it one credit. Two, if I'm going to post anything, it's going to be advice or information that may help the situation. I've done a number of tutorials since, but I'm not giving why am I posting or giving airtime to this?
You're not a medical professional. It's the same thing. It's just like, I don't know what information's real. I'm just sort of soaking the information in and trying to pass out some sort of coherent story out of everything I hear.
Well, that is the best way to do it, though. That is making up your own mind and being critical of all sources, that's the best way to do it. I think a great example is this week. Despite what you may think of Mr. Trump, there was a tremendous amount of airtime given to apparently him telling people to inject a disinfectant. Now, firstly, in the full interview, he didn't say that. And once again, I'm not for or against Mr. Trump. My main mind is, why is Australia giving him any airtime? Worry about Australian politics and Australian politicians. If you are going to say something, let us know what cures they're working on. Don't let us know how bad the numbers are. We know the numbers are bad. What cure? How many people? And that's the thing, they say the total number. Well, there's only 1,000 people. There's 6,000 people that have been infected. 5,000 of them have recovered.
What's happened here has been so mild compared to some parts of the world.
Yeah. Well,
we've been, especially in WA, we've been so lucky compared to even the eastern states.
You're an essential worker.
Numbers. What's that?
You're an essential worker, so you've remained at work.
Yeah, nothing's changed for me except I'm working more and we're having to take more precautions, but I'm a commercial cleaner, so like I'm on building sites and like commercial facilities and industrial facilities that need cleaning for coronavirus specifically. Yes. So we've been doing lots of antibacterial steam cleaning with like pressure steamers, like you see videos of people like in other countries doing it, spraying disinfectant and things, because that's what people want at the moment.
That's fantastic. Well, do you think we should have maybe been doing that to start with on a regular basis?
Hindsight's definitely 2020 in this case.
Okay. From now on, do you think we should be doing it?
Yeah. Maybe I have a bias there because that's what keeps me employed. But
well,
it would have been better had we put in more preventative measures sooner.
Yeah.
However, there's definitely another case that basically says we don't shut down the country or the world for all these other things that happen. It is kind of playing whataboutism, but you think about tobacco, obesity, car crashes,
cancer,
alcohol, cancer. Like a lot of people are dying. This is a high mortality rate, and it's a serious disease that should be taken seriously. But the way that things were shut down, maybe not here, but especially in places like California, where they instituted martial law, pretty hardcore.
Well,
a lot of other countries are just.
I know in Victoria,
shut down.
Victoria was very strict, where the police enforced and hundreds of fines were given.
The UK's been quite bad for it.
UK, yeah, and
I don't know if you've seen that video of that guy who got his door kicked in by the police.
Yeah, bro.
And they thought there was a party there, and they've sort of walked in expecting to see 20 people, and it's just some bloke saying, "Get the F out of my house! What, you busted my door in?" And the cops are kind of just, "Oops," and it's like, "What do you mean, oops?" They're getting very overzealous. Spain has done that as well. There's been a lot of police brutality.
So one thing that I know that police departments have been using is, do you know the Google Maps app? So one of the features of the Google Maps app is it's able to display in real time where traffic is an issue.
Yeah, so people don't know where that comes from or how that's calculated.
Well, that comes from your phone.
Yeah, it's your GPS location.
GPS location. So this was tested by a town planning student in Norway, where he got 100 iPhones and would drive them up and down a street.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, in a little cart or something.
Yeah, in a little cart. So he got the street improved and all sorts.
Generated traffic. Yeah.
Yeah. So
red.
What they've been using are the heat maps, which Google already provides the information to open source to find out where groups of people are. Now, I've heard they've been using this overseas, but
it wouldn't shock me as being used here.
I don't know if you've heard now about this coronavirus app that the government's launched. So
1984.
You don't even need to have the app for it to know if you've been in contact with a person. If your Bluetooth is on or your Wi-Fi is on roaming, this app automatically collects everybody that you've walked past. Now, I can understand the government wanting this, but that's wherein the problem lies, because the last 3 cases with the government trying to secure information, My Health, the ATO, and the census.
The census, all disasters. Jesus. How about MyGov during this crisis being inaccessible for most people as well?
MyGov, or not just MyGov, but MyGov wasn't safe before. The My Health records were leaked.
That's it. But even just the fact that like the site's just inaccessible for large portions of the day, it's still like it's a government website. Like you think they would have the money to hire like proper architects and web developers that know what they're
Well,
just service based. I don't understand.
Here's the thing. I think because it's such a sensitive issue and it actually details with national security, we should not be outsourcing that to a company that we haven't thoroughly assessed can do these sorts of things. Because if we're just giving, if this happened 3 times, we're obviously giving our contracts and it's the wrong process, tender process. I don't want to go to say we should nationalise everything. You know,
I think that's a bit overkill.
That's. I mean, there are some things where yes, if the government does want to step in as a part-time buyer and eventually sell it back, that's a good idea. But the government shouldn't be owning companies again. We saw how that ran in the 80s.
You see how Australia Post has functioned during this crisis. And then you look at countries like FedEx and then just non-stop, they're still posting everything out. So it's like, this isn't, again, it's a pretty basic argument. Like the private sector is generally going to be better at something so large scale.
The way they've been able to adapt, especially to this crisis, has been phenomenal.
Well, maybe not some.
Well, absolutely not for some.
Virgin Australia's, like the airlines have gone.
They were already heavily laden in debt.
They were.
And
Qantas, I mean, it's had massive bailouts, which it's not exactly surviving.
Yeah, but I mean, you have a look at other industries like transportation. They've adapted and implemented the right procedures to enable, even before there was a quarantine, the people that do the cash dispensaries, what are they called? Armaguard. They started quarantining money weeks before everything happened because they knew what was happening, and business owners were actually having trouble before the quarantine because they couldn't get out large sums because they were quarantining the money. That way, when they knew the crisis came, people would need money and cash, and then they had enough available cash, even though they encourage digital payments.
Yeah, that's very smart.
But so other changes, how, because you're in a younger demographic than myself, how are your friends and family all coping?
Family's doing fine, really. Most of them are either out of school or work, or you know they're doing little bits here and there. But a lot of, probably half of my friends, I would say, are non-essential. The other half are.
Shit.
So, at least the ones that I know about, I don't know if they're, most people I know at least are
That's
working
tough.
to some extent. Yeah, so it's interesting. I've never really been afraid to go outside during this problem. Like I'm essentially on the front lines, but cleaning it off when it's fucking they're doing it. But it's just work, really. I mean, I try not to think about it too much. I know some people are quite frightened to go outside, especially those, I think, working in retail that have contact with people every day.
Yes.
Construction sites are pretty under lock and key. You know, the max is a couple hundred people there, and everyone's pretty respectful of social distancing. And
well, you've got so many other
construction sites. Everyone's wearing surgical masks, latex rubber gloves, glasses. Like the standards for hygiene and safety have been pushed up, and they're enforcing it quite strongly.
Well, they already had a lot of the standards for distancing and whatnot because they were already safety measures that were in place. So, I mean, you know, you can't go within certain spaces of people operating certain machinery and that sort of thing.
The construction industry has adapted fairly well. There is, I'd say there's probably 30% less people on site than what you'd normally see. And that's just because they're trying to reduce the numbers on site at all times. You don't need everyone there all the time. You can sequence everyone through.
Schedule it
They
differently.
prefer to have always a sparky, a plumber, a chip. Like, they want one of everyone on site generally most of the time, but you don't actually need it. You can have everyone just come in a sequence.
That's brilliant.
So you'll only be there with certain trades that are doing works around you, so as opposed to just, they generally cram everyone in there for 2 years.
Yes.
So, they've adapted quite well, and it looks like things are quieting down.
What about social interactions? Because, I mean, you know, people I know of your age or your younger age group are more social and like to socialise. I like to socialise as well. I know it's affected me. But personally, I'm not very extroverted, so I'd go out to a friend's house sometimes, or I'd go, very rarely do I actually go out just because of the money side of it's like a couple $100 if you want to go out and actually have a good time. Yeah.
And I just don't have $300 to blow on a nice night out, you know what I mean? Like, that's such a rare thing that I'll do for someone's birthday if they're all going out, or there has to be something for it. I can't just go and do it.
But what about your friends? Are they? I mean, they've obviously haven't been able to go out and catch up and have.
Yeah, it's interesting because in sort of my generation, the cutoff between millennial and Zoomer, it's a a lot of the communication's online anyway, so it's not that different. I think it's just being able to go outside for a lot of people.
Well, I think you're quite different because I've got photos of you and I almost 20 years ago gaming, and that's pretty much isolation. Hardcore gamers, it's self-quarantine. You just sit at a computer, you play your game, and weeks.
It's not like we haven't spent days and days.
Months, years.
Months, yeah. So like it's not as hard as a hit for maybe us as it is for someone who's always out of the clubs, always down at the pub.
Yes.
Someone who's social. Like if we were all still going to 4PG, for example, that might be difficult for us because then all of a sudden we've lost that social gathering. Whereas we've already, that's already happened. So
yeah.
I don't know. We're still keeping up online, which I think is encouraged for most people, is to try and stay in some form of contact.
Now, have you had a chance to work on music at all, or just been too busy with work?
I've done a few bits here and there, but nothing's out yet. I need to do some more work on things.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I'll just put down. Let me talk to the camera for a sec, guys. I've just put Dan on the spot. I didn't actually warn him about this part of the video, but my intentions are that hopefully I can encourage him or motivate him because I really want to collaborate with him again. He's an amazing musician. Check out his work. It's Minismee at YouTube, Soundcloud, Facebook, and he's actually still live looking at me doing this, going, Paul, what the... But, okay, guys, you got that? Cool. Thanks, Dan. Listen, so hopefully you'll get some new music and I can collaborate with you.
Yeah, I appreciate the plug. There's stuff in the pipeline. I've just got to spend more time. I've been too busy with work. In fact, I'm working tomorrow afternoon, doing an afternoon shift, just a couple hours. But it's stuff like that where even on public holidays, and last Easter holidays, I was working on the third or fourth day as well. So it's like...
Has your commute time, has the time that it takes to commute to work reduced because of less people? Yeah.
In some places drastically, in other places it's less noticeable. I think the city's still pretty packed. If you want to drive down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, there's still cars everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's still just a nightmare to drive through, like Wellington and William and all that. That whole area is just shit. I mean,
don't. Bro, the city of Perth understands that because studies have shown that people are less likely to commute there because of the traffic issues. Business has been reduced because of it.
Yeah, I dread every time I get a job to go and it's the middle of Mounts Bay Road or Mercantile, like it's somewhere downtown Wellington or somewhere like that, or the corners where there's just...
And parking. Ridiculous.
The parking is the worst. I mean, the van that I drive it's like this off the roof, it's only like 10 mil. Just about to scrape off most car parks down there, but just the amount of crashes and like near misses that you see in the city. I'm sure you've done it as well. You drive through the city and
avoid it. Avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, like William Street, right down the bottom near Elizabeth Quay. That whole corner, like around the convention centre and all that. Like that's one of the amount of crashes and people's mirrors that have been taken off and just stuff I've seen at those traffic lights there. It's ridiculous.
I don't. I'm hesitant to say this, but I also put it down to Perth drivers.
I can't really disagree with you there. I haven't
good.
I've driven in the US.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
But then those drivers are much worse, let me tell you. Well, at least in Atlanta, they are. Jesus Christ, frightening, scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are going 120, 130. Like speed is not an issue on the interstate. When there's 9 lanes in Atlanta going down the interstate.
I-95.
The speed limit's it's already 20. It's 120 anyway. But people are going 140. They don't care. People are just no indicators. They just weave.
And they're in those big suburban.
Big American cars, big Ford F-150s, and
I hate to say, I sort of do like those, man. I like the Escalades, bro.
They're massive. The Ford F-350s have 6 wheels on them and shit. And it's big fuck off trucks that take up 2 spaces. They're a bit obnoxious, to be honest. And
they are a bit, but I do like the big pimped out Escalades, the 4-wheel drive Escalade,
with the wings and all that.
Yeah.
Cadillacs and stuff. They're nice.
Yeah. Now, have you got any travels or trips planned? No.
No, not really.
When was your last trip to the US?
2 years ago, 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
How are your friends going in America at the moment? Because I feel terrible for them.
Well, yeah, some of them are okay. Some of them are, like, I have some that are working in California, and they're like essential workers that do retail. I've got others that are in South Carolina and Georgia and that sort of area, and they're okay. I know Florida's not even really taking it seriously. Like, everyone's still outside. Like, you can't tell those people what to do.
What is it?
All got guns and alligators.
What is it? The two craziest people on the whole planet come from the Bronx and all of Florida.
Yeah. Like Cuban influence, I think.
Just anyone from Florida. Oh, Tiger King. Yeah. Have you seen that Tiger King?
I've watched one episode of it, and I need to watch more. Again, I just haven't had the time to sit down, really.
It's so cringeworthy.
I enjoy it so far. I can tell I'm going to like it if I keep watching it.
I like it, but I don't want to watch it. It is really good. It is a really good series.
It seems quite funny.
Have you been watching anything else at all?
I've rewatched Vikings to catch up on that.
Oh, that is Bryce's favourite show.
Yeah, I'm up to season 6 now. There's somewhere through that, and it's a really good show. I'm really enjoying it. And you can tell, because I basically went through and rewatched it from season 1 again, and you can just see the production value jump each time. The actors are quite good as well.
He downloaded the soundtrack from he purchased it on an iTunes store, and the soundtrack, bro, it is.
Yeah, Trevor Morris. He's also the composer who does music for Castlevania, which is an incredible show as well. If you've seen that, the animated series on Netflix.
Yes.
And he also does a bunch of really good shows. I've got him on Spotify and all that. He's a good composer.
Fantastic. Now, I did a vlog earlier, a week or two ago, on top 10 anime. What are 2 or 3 of your favourite anime of all time?
I think Cowboy Bebop. Most people, even not anime fans, have probably seen that or heard about it at least. That's an incredible show. That really is. Great TV show. It's a really, really well, and it's timeless with the 90s animation. It has a lot of weight behind it that you just. Like, the animation now looks quite clean and it's smooth, but it's missing some of that character you get out of the old school animes.
Yes.
The art style, it has something unique about it. It's the same thing between electronic and acoustic instruments. All the imperfections are there to see instead of airbrushed out, and there's something more human about it, I think.
100%. Yes, I didn't understand that, and my ear still isn't as well trained, but listening to an analog production on a record player made with original instruments through the original analog equalizers and filters and whatnot, recorded onto tape and then pressed onto a record, sounds. There's a thickness and a character and texture to the music.
It's really hard to put your finger on it. You can use richness, warmth. There's any number of buzzwords, and this is a problem in the music industry in general. There's always jokes about it, don't use words like warm or what does warm sound like, we all know what it sounds like, but it doesn't actually have a sound, and so it's just something that, it makes us feel that way almost, or everyone knows it, but no one really knows how to describe it, and it's the imperfections that pop out, much like on an oil canvas, like an original with all the bumps and things like that. It's got traces left of the artist, essentially.
Yes.
Doing their craft instead of it all being sanitized out and then just like you're hearing a recording out of a speaker, It's an original, so.
1 sec, let me just put this on silent. I should have turned this off before, how rude. So listen, what are you're working tomorrow, and then next week I guess you're working. So when do you think quarantine will finish? Or restrictions will loosen?
It's hard to tell at this stage. I've sort of stopped keeping track of it anymore because I found myself every day watching, maybe for the last 2 weeks now, I haven't really kept track of it at all. The first few weeks I was watching updated death counts and infection counts and all the doom and gloom for every morning at 5 a.m. when I wake up. I'd put that on. It's the first thing I'd watch. Just to be like, what kind of world am I? Because back then it was all quite, this could go exponential and this could turn into 28 days later shit. This could really get very bad. So preparing myself to step out in the wasteland every day. Of course, it was never that bad. And yeah, again, I don't know. It could be weeks, it could be months. I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later, because this is where the stage now where if we don't start to sort of loosen things, that economically things will get quite bad, and that could cause damage years into the future, like with people in debt and things like that.
Well, that's one thing that we do need to talk about eventually is who's going to be paying for all this.
Well, you know who's going to be paying for this?
Australian taxpayers.
Yeah. It's the taxpayer. It's the taxpayer around the world who's going to pay for their own countries.
But
programs.
Yeah, the one thing from after 9/11 was returning everything to normal as quickly as possible. And that's what I believe helped us get through that period of time. I mean, if we stay in our homes for too much longer, people are going to start to want to go to war. Like, that's...
Well, they already do. I don't know if you've...
I've seen,
you browse Twitter and you see all the China baiting.
That's the thing. The best thing to do right now is not even mention their name. Don't even talk about it. Launch an investigation. Don't give them the attention that the Communist Party wants. We need to be calling out honest journalism right now. If they're doing things in the South China Sea that are dodgy, call that out. But don't go after the CCP for any other reason. Just don't take the bait. That's it. I think if we get back to it by around mid-May, we'll start to see some restrictions loosen. And then I'd say hopefully around August, you'll start to see everything open up a bit more freely if, I'm talking domestically, not internationally, if our numbers stay low. And that's the thing. We've always, the thing they shouldn't be publicising is how many total people are infected. They need to be showing how many people are currently infected. Because of the 6,000 that they show every day, 5,500 of those have been cured. They're over it.
That's it. It's like...
Show us the real accurate information.
Struggling to climb to 3 million at this stage. It looked exponential for the first few weeks, where it very, very rapidly hit 100,000 and then 1 million. At this stage, it looks like we don't know enough about this disease. It looks like possibly there's multiple strains, unconfirmed. It looks like possibly that a lot of the world's already had it and has had some sort of immunity to it with asymptomatic cases. It looks like a lot of things. We don't know.
We don't know enough.
There's a lot of speculation at this stage, and so I think we all just need to do anything that we do has to be done slowly.
Yes. In stages.
Not just flip or just open everything up. I think that could cause the potential for a new spike.
Yes, or a new strain or something even we don't know. But definitely start to ease restrictions in May, I hope. And August we can loosen some more. And let's hope by Christmas we can have everything to the point where not international travel is a regular thing. Hey, you say that, you can be labelled xenophobic or anti-immigration. You and I are the last...
I think most countries have done that at this stage.
Yeah, well, they said... Here's the thing. What Scott Morrison did it, he didn't get any blowback. As soon as Trump said it, they called him anti-Chinese.
Yeah, it's the usual circus over there. It's Orange Man bad is the narrative they go with.
Did you see the Gal Gadot video she did?
What, Imagine?
Yeah.
All the celebrities, in their $12 million mansions. Jesus. Talk about unlikable, vapid celebrity culture. That's it right there. That came off as so tone deaf, I think, to most people.
I couldn't watch it. I was cringing too hard.
It was cringy. I only watched some of it, but
I mean, I love Gal.
Yeah, she's a good actor. A lot of those actors are good, but just the tone deaf. Imagine the world has no borders and walls, and imagine no one with extra money said to celebrities with millions of dollars in their mansions. It's like that Sam Smith photos of him crying in his mansion, or Madonna going crazy, and just all these celebrities going mad because they don't have attention for 5 minutes.
One thing I will say on that is I've probably seen more acts of kindness among Australians than I've ever seen before. I've seen more great Australians at this time, and I've never been prouder to be a part of this country. You were talking about the retail staff. They get paid peanuts.
Yeah.
Transport workers, essential workers like yourself, police, fire. We don't know how lucky we are. We really don't.
We've been really good. Especially WA out of the rest of the world has been, once again, again, like the isolation that we have here is proving to be good.
Right. Did you see the post about us starting to dig the trench to fully secede from Australia?
It's not real, is it?
No, it's not real. It's a fake post, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, there's always been talk about the Great Republic of Westralia, hasn't
Australia.
I mean, look, we could do it, and
Oh, man.
spoken of it. I don't know how I feel about it. I like being part of Australia. Like,
They couldn't survive without.
We totally could.
They couldn't survive without the revenue generated from the state.
They wouldn't get it.
But listen, it's been good. I've kept you for half an hour, 20 minutes over our conversation. I will shorten this. Hopefully, we will see each other in the next couple of weeks. May is just around the corner, and yes, and definitely catch up. And I hope I can collaborate with you when your new music's out.
Yeah, look, I'll
No rush.
I'll message you and we'll tee something up.
Bro, when you're working, I fully understand. But yeah, give us we'll private DMs and yeah. Thank you again for your time. Everyone go check out Dan's stuff. He's an awesome producer, one of Australia's hottest audio engineers. He's done some great voice acting work. Check out his music. I've been fortunate to collaborate with him. I hope you're blushing right now. And everyone, have a great one. Peace out.